All right, welcome back to Salt City Counseling, y'all. Once again, my name's Scott Carter. I'm a licensed therapist here in the beautiful state of Utah. Cold spring morning. This video, I'm going to talk about self-esteem, the secrets to having self-esteem, and this elusive idea of having positive self-esteem. I'm going to give like six-ish things. Part of the equation is kind of a mosaic, right? Having positive self-esteem it's a little bit of a puzzle. You got to put the pieces in place. You got to put a lot of pieces in place. And so in this video, I'm going to go over six things that I have found, not only just as a clinician helping people develop and improve their own self-esteem, but just my own journey as well. Truth be told, I didn't always like myself, because that's really what self-esteem is, right? We got to talk about what self-esteem actually is compared to confidence. Confidence is kind of an outward display. To me, confidence usually comes with experience. People become more confident when they have more experience in things. Confidence can also kind of be faked a little bit. Self-esteem, not so much. Self-esteem is really an internal thing. And to me, self-esteem has a lot to do with how much one does or does not listen to the inner critic. And so really the elusive formula for self-esteem, I'm going to cover some things here in that video. And so it's important to understand what self-esteem is, why it's important. Everybody wants it, right? Everybody wants it, but it's like I find that when I give people some of these keys or tickets or tools to create this or cultivate this in their lives, they're pretty resistant. I find that a lot of people have a lot of wrong ideas of what it means to like yourself. Like this idea that they're like, for example, I commonly encounter people who seem to have it in their heads that liking yourself means that you become this sociopathic monster, this unbridled sociopathic monster that destroys everybody else. People who like themselves have absolutely no use or purpose in being awful to anybody else. Anytime that somebody is mean to other people, exploitative, or otherwise bad to other people, that is not someone that likes themselves. I don't care how much bravado they have. I don't care how confident they seem. I don't care how comfortable they seem in their own skin. If they're awful to others, that person does not like themselves. They don't have high self-esteem. You can't. To me, you can't have high self-esteem if you're mistreating others. Those things can't coexist. Because really, ultimately, I believe that, like, I'm going to get a little philosophical here, but I believe that you can't hurt others without hurting yourself. So I'm going to get into these secrets, I believe, to self-esteem, to cultivating self-esteem. Of course, let me get some housekeeping out of the way. If you're new here, please subscribe. Help me get to my first 1 million. I'm super duper close. If you really like my content, please hit the tip jar. That will help enable me to keep content like this moving to you. Go check out my website if you're in a high conflict custody and divorce, highconflictcommunity.com. I have some courses over there. You can also book or schedule a consultation and pay for a consultation on that website as well, if you'd like. That's a possibility. And if you have viewer questions, man, scottc at saltcitycounseling.com. I love viewer questions. It's so helpful for me to know what people want to know about, what they're asking about, what's on their minds, get some feedback. And so you can leave a comment in the section below on what your questions are as well. That's a useful way to do it. Just make sure that you like state your question clearly, please. So let's get into this. I've got about 6 or so things here. Okay, let's break this down. Okay, number 1, in no particular order. Reading my notes here. Throwing away the broken or flawed measurement tools and methods while adopting new ones. Okay, so think about this. Like if I were to ask you, if you were sitting right here in front of me and I were to say, how do you determine your own worth? Like what do you use to measure or determine or weigh what it is that you think makes you good, valuable, lovable, or important? What would you say? How would you answer that question? Now most people have really flawed measuring sticks or measuring tools, really flawed ways to measure their own worth, their own value. And if you base your self-esteem on some of these flawed methods, you're not going to like yourself. You're just not. And for example, people might see themselves only as lovable if they're attractive. And it's important to see yourself as lovable first, and more attractiveness comes out of that. Is attractiveness important? Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. Does that determine one's worth or value? No, not at all. How much, how much money you make. whether or not you say and do all the right things all the time. These things, we've got a lot of people have collectively got into their melons, man. That these are the tools, these are the ways to measure their own worth and value, and it's horribly flawed. So adopting the right ways to measure your worth or you measure your value, what your intentions are, whether or not you grow. Whether you're a growth-oriented person, how well you treat other people. Are you willing to apologize? Are you willing to take personal responsibility? But here's a crazy radical idea. Maybe people just have value simply because they do. And for no other reason other than they exist. There's a radical view, right? Something to think about. Number 2. Your self-talk. How you talk to yourself. Okay? Now, if your self-talk or your inner voice, your inner critic, is really harsh to you, ask yourself, if I talk to other people this way, would I have any friends? If the answer is no, it is time to realize that you have a choice. You can choose how to talk to yourself. You can choose whether or not you talk to yourself in good ways, positive ways, or otherwise. When you learn to master your thinking, I mean, quite frankly, most people have not invested any time or effort in improving their thoughts, their thinking, and what floats through their head minute by minute. And the undisciplined nature of it, it's like it's an overgrown bush that's just gone out of control and it's just gone crazy, right? And so learning to master your thoughts, learning to not talk to yourself in a negative way is very, very important and very, very powerful. And meditation, I talk about meditation all the time. The research on meditation is only reinforcing more and more and more that meditation is absolutely a powerful, powerful way to change your thoughts and change your thinking and change your mind. Okay? Number 3, very hard one, removing yourself from negative people. This does not mean telling people to go, walk off a pier. This is not burning bridges. This is not telling people that they're toxic and horrible and I hate you, get out of my life. This is just creating distance. And you can wish people well in the process. Thank you for being my friend. I hope the best things for you, right? And just doing it even mentally. You don't have to say this verbally, but just create distance. And at first I might be like, oh, why are you being so quiet? Just, oh, I'm just busy. I just had a lot. I'm just shifting some priorities. I like putting it that way. I'm just shifting some priorities. I'm just kind of working on some of my own stuff right now. Pretty soon they kind of get used to you not being there as much. But removing oneself from negative people is really important. In spiritual practices, there is a principle that just basically says that you're not stronger than your environment. You will be like the people that you surround yourself with. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, detaching oneself. This was super important. This is a whole other topic. I could do videos on video. I could do content and content and content on this. So if you want more content on this particular point, let me know. Leave a comment, please. Detaching oneself from the need for approval from others. Okay, this is mental incarceration, man. Wanting approval from others. And there is a whole cycle here, right? Where it's almost like subconsciously we hope that if we do all the right things, then other people will give their approval and then we will be allowed to give it to ourselves. Nobody ever wins that game. People always lose it. People lose that game every single time. And so there's much, much better ways to feel better about yourself without trying to get that approval from others. It's a dead end. Waiting for people to like you before you like yourself. Nobody ever gets there through that method. Nobody. Absolutely nobody, okay? Number 4. This one's really important to me. Cultivating positive alone time. Well, I'm sorry, that's number 5. Cultivating positive alone time. Some people hate being alone. They hate it. Usually to me that's a good gauge for me to kind of figure out where they're at. Like if someone is like, I can't stand being alone. I hate being alone. I hate alone time. I can't do it. It's just torturous. It usually says a lot. Okay? If you're alone time, uh-oh, the cat's coming in. He might cause trouble. I'm not starting this over. Cultivating positive alone time. Where was I? Be good. He's a troublemaker, man. If you hate being alone, you're going to want to look first at your self-talk and improving your self-talk. Okay? But ways that you can improve your alone time is do things that you love. Particularly focus on things that are creative and artistic. Music, Drawing, painting, writing, anything. Do something creative. Do something artistic. Hell, even like an adult coloring book is good. Like sometimes I will just do audiobooks that I love, like fiction. I love good fiction, um, and color. Honestly, it's relaxing. Okay, number 6, because I'm trying to plow through this. I gotta get moving, and I need to finish this video. Discovering and expanding the true self. Okay, now here's the truth. The source of self-esteem is not outside of you. Okay, you will never, if you look outside of you for self-esteem, you'll never find it ever. You won't find it. You just won't. And unfortunately, a lot of people they just run themselves into the ground, looking everywhere they can look, right, to find self-esteem. Self-esteem comes from within. Okay, and I call this a true self. True self is a self that I discovered through just like therapy, but a lot of meditation, a lot of spirituality, and allowing myself to be kind to myself, giving myself permission to be kind to myself. I didn't always like myself. I really didn't. I've come a long ways in that regard. I look back like 20 years ago or whatever, completely different human being. Okay, so those are just some of the secrets to self-esteem. If you like this video, make sure that you like it and you share it and all that stuff, because it'll show me that people want more of this content. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you comment. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.